What's happening, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to the channel. We are live on YouTube and Twitch today, yet again, doing our match reaction where QPR drew 0-0 to Bristol City at home yesterday. Very good turnout on the stream yet again, as always, for the match react, the live watch along. So much respect, much appreciation to everyone who tuned in the chat as well, getting involved with the community. Apart from that, how was everyone's day? Hopefully you're having a good day. Apart from me, I am shattered, I'll be honest. Not feeling really great, to be honest, today. So yeah. Before we start, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to, and we shall get into this match reaction in a second. Just gonna see if there's anybody in the chat that is there first. Oh man, match currently watching Sunderland beating Tottenham 1-0 at the moment. This should be full time in about 1 minute anyway, so yeah. How's everyone doing anyway today? Oh man, I don't know what's wrong with me today. Just knackered. Is there anyone in chat? Man, no one in chat at the moment. Alright, cool. Well, let's get straight into this then. Let's get straight into this. Oh, we got Paul in the chat. Hello, mate. You all good? Weren't the best of games yesterday, but take the points. Just been watching Tottenham lose again. Yeah, mate. It wasn't great yesterday. I'll be honest. Listen, look, as long look, you know, we could say certain things about the game yesterday. But we'll be, let's be honest about it. You know, Bristol City are a good side at the end of the day. They have been brilliant all season. But unfortunately, you know, they've had stumbles during the process of this season like we have, and obviously they haven't really, you know, they've dropped off a little bit. But yeah, apart from that, you know, it wasn't a great game. It was very dead, but at least we didn't lose. That's the main thing. So yeah. Right, let's get into the match reaction or the final thoughts of how we feel about yesterday. So yeah, as you can tell, QPR 0-0 with Bristol City yesterday. It was a 12:30 PM kickoff. And what was the thoughts of it? Basically pretty dead, like I said. The way Paul has just said it right now, pretty much you can only sum it up like that. It's not been brilliant. You know, there was some good signs of certain things, but I'll be honest, the fact is this: when you have a goalkeeper that's man of the match, you can literally tell you a lot of things. When if that keeper is man of the match, you can tell who was pretty much in control of that game, kind of. So yeah, the momentum wise, it was all us. Technically, we had a majority of attacks going. But when it came down to Bristol City, they were pretty much counter-attacking, like I said before, with set pieces and everything like that. You know, you could always tell by how a team plays when you look at stats properly, with like ball possession, kind of the momentum in the game as well, whether they're really attacking, like a Genga press type of style, or whether they're a counter-attacking team when they're just patiently playing the ball with the possession and then waiting for their opportunity to just pounce once we're at our weakness. So yeah, but I'm not sure of how Roy Hodgson plays personally, but at the end of the day, his Bristol City side did a good job to keep us a 0-0 draw at our own ground. Like I said, there's not much to really say. You know, there was chances in the game, but whether you could blame that to being a shit game, a shit performance on QPR, or whether it is a great defensive performance from Bristol City, yeah, you know, just literally not much to really say. You can already say ball possession 45%, Bristol City's ball possession 55%. Expected goals, it was all over for Bristol City. Total shots, it was all Bristol City. You know, at the end of the day, should we say this is a Bristol City game that they should have won? Maybe, I'm not too sure. You know, the positive thing is that I'll say this: BURRELL returned. It's that simple. You know, we got another clean sheet. Oh, I should say we got a clean sheet finally. We didn't lose. That was the main thing. And our goal scorer has returned. You know, he came off the bench. And we looked a little okay when he came on. We were attacking still from there. But You know, until we can see him fully on the pitch yet again performing, then I reckon we'll get some good goals coming in again. You know, we've seen Kone score goals, we've seen Burrell score goals, Colley score goals, Paul Smith's been involved, Vale, you know, everyone's been kind of involved in goals apart from a couple of players. But you know, it's been alright. You know, we're sitting 11th now with 42 games played, 58 points, -5 goal difference. And Bristol City just above us with 58 points as well, just plus goal difference. You know, they have Norwich next, we have Millwall next. We do. Not long left, 4 games to go. So yeah. Paul says, was disappointed when he brought Burrell on, he took Colley off, wouldn't have minded seeing how they will work. It would be good, but obviously it all depending on what he sees on the pitch. Julian does. You know, if Julian doesn't see anything brilliant or great from our strikers, you know, because they both came off, they did. Kone and Colley both came off, you know. So at the end of the day, you could tell him, you know, like I said, the game was pretty dead, really boring, really bad. You know, there was opportunities, but it was the fact being that the only change he did was make it more attacking in that second half, you know. And you could tell by obviously who he brought on, you know. At the end of the day, he brought on 2 fresh faces up front for Burrell and Daniel Benny. And who else did he bring on again? Let's have a look. No, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Millwall yet. There we go. Bristol City. So he brought on Burrell, Benny and Poku obviously at the 75th minute. Look, it all tells you even in the thing that the events in the first half was literally just Jonathan Varane getting a yellow card, and then in the second half it was literally just subs. Really, that was it. You know, Burrell came on for Colley, Benny came for Kone, and Poku came for Morgan. That tells you how much of an attacking threat he wanted to win the game yesterday. You know, he brought on 3 attacking players to try and get the goal and the win. You know, but it didn't work at the end of the day. Now, I think it's going to be a short stream. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be a short stream, I think. You know, there's not much to say. I generally was very surprised with how we played yesterday. You know, I'm glad that we got the clean sheet and we didn't lose at home. But it just was a very dead game. It was a very dead game. You know, 10 total shots. How many shots were on target, in fact, actually? 2 shots on target. It just explains how we was yesterday, you know. I generally don't even remember if we had a shot, what shots were on target. I might actually have to basically have a look at the actual events that have happened. But Walsh got man of the match, 8.4. Davis is 7.0. Clark Salt 7.1. Edwards 7.2. And Begay 7.3. Smith over 6.6. Varane, same thing. Morgan 6.4. Vale 6.9. Kone over 6. Colley over 6.3. Man of the match was Joe Walsh at the end of the day. Was he great? He was alright. I'm not going to lie. He looked alright. There was a couple of mistakes he made in the sense of where holding the ball. You know, he was very struggling in certain ways with literally saving and holding on to it. You know, there was a few worries there in the box, but you know, the defense did a cracking job yesterday, you know, even though it was a dead game. So yeah. Ryan, watching paint dry would be more interesting than that yesterday. I think there's more other interesting things than paint dry, to be honest. H Football, hi DB. Hi H Football, hopefully you're having a good day. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you're all having a great day anyway. But yeah, I'll be honest. Also was happy with Jacob lasting the full game. Paul, that's actually a good statement to say, actually, because I was very surprised he was still on the pitch. You know, there was a very wary thing that I saw with him where I thought he actually pulled his hamstring, but it seemed to be fine at the end of the day. Ronnie Edwards and him seemed to have a good partnership. Ronnie as captain yesterday was really good. Davis, pretty much an okay game, and Bengay needs to learn to cross, and that's what I'll bring up actually, because this really ticks me off, is that, like I said, I enjoy Bengay as a defender. You know, I feel like his best position is centre back. I also think that he can play right back, but only in a full back role. No, sorry, should I say fullback? I don't know if I should say fullback, but I think with Benny, not with Benny, with Mbenge, right? What we need to do is this: if we're gonna go and say, right, we need to put crosses into the box on that right hand side, we need to stop taking Mbenge up there. You know, we need to end up putting Mbenge in the middle when we do the attack. Mbenge needs to go into the middle, and we need to allow Kieran Morgan go to the wing, or something like that, because it's not working. I don't know about you guys, but I just don't think Mbenge can cross a ball. He can whip a ball in, but accuracy and, you know, the majority of thing, the amount of power he gets onto it is incredible. Don't get me wrong, but he doesn't place it into the box. It's like he looks like he's just going for a shot or a hit and hope, you know. And I like Mbenge. He's one of my favorite players this season, and I'm glad we signed him. But on the attack as a attacking right back, he's not great, man. Honestly, you know. Hopefully he learns. He gets better at it. But I don't at the moment right now. I just don't see it happening, man. You know, I like Mbenge, but you gotta understand me. I'm not trying to hate on him whatsoever, but you gotta kind of agree he can't cross the ball, man. Honestly, I know he scored a goal. He does score goals when he's in the middle, but when he's on that wing, we want to see good crosses into the box, and that's what is letting us down. Even Davis, he doesn't even really pop a ball in decently as well. And if we're gonna do that, we need good crosses in the box. You know, this is where we're missing Chair. Everything that Chair puts into the box is going into the box, and it's going on someone's head, you know. Also, was yesterday was just a mid-table boring game. Hitchell says. Ryan says, can someone teach Mbenge how to cross? Why is it always him? Surely Vale and Smith should be put in the mixer. Hitchell says, Mbenge did one cross into the box. Yeah, I know, into the stands. I know. Look, if it works on it with what I'm saying, if we see a change, then cool. But I just don't think crosses are working for this club whatsoever. You know, we got two players. Kone is probably the only one that's going to be in the box to score headers. But when it comes down to scoring goals from crosses, I don't see Collie doing it whatsoever that much. I know last season he scored a couple of decent headers from crosses on set pieces, but yeah, I would say if we in Millwall, if we're gonna see Mbenge try and run, we need to see Mbenge put into a part where he runs into Kieran Morgan's position and Kieran Morgan runs out wide, because I know Kieran Morgan can put a good ball in. I think everyone knows that. For you know. Paul says, yeah, I agree with you on Mbenge. He does need to work on his crossing. He does 100%. He has a great shot. I'm not gonna lie, for a right back, he's a cracking shot, you know. But crossing wise, it's not great, man. You know, I reckon if he shot from out distance, it'll be a little like a Roberto Carlos or a flipping Cafu type of shot. But yeah, pretty much Mbenge does that. I feel like apart from that, we actually really did okay with other players. You know, it was just pretty much a dead game. It wasn't, you know, we fought a actually average good team that gave us, I wouldn't say gave us a good test, but you know, I think we could have performed a little better, to be honest. Yeah, but Joe Walsh got man of the match, 8.4. Shout outs to him. Hopefully, you know, some mistakes were made. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah. But I think the positive is Burrell came into the game from off the bench and looked interesting. You know, he didn't score, but he looked hungry. He did, and that's what we've been missing. I also think we might see some others come into the Millwall game, and you know, see what happens there. Also, Bob Taylor's laughing. Fair enough. He's back. He's back. Also, Morgan and Varane are way too scared to play. To play the ball forward. We kept going back. Yeah, this is one thing I can say with you, Ryan, and I agree with. We do play the ball back too much. You know, we try to play possession in our half too much, and I think that needs to stop. Like I said, we need to play the ball more like we did at the start of the season, where we was getting it into their box and passing it in their box, which is the best way, in my opinion, to sort it out. So I do agree with you on that one. H says you would think it would be very open game with lots of goals, but it was a complete opposite. H says it was a complete opposite. I was hoping for a 2-0 win, but even that fucked up, man. Even that fucked up. I'm hoping and expecting a lot more out of the Millwall game. It's a bit worrying to go to Millwall to see if we can get a point, but I think that's the only thing that we can do is get a point. It's going to be a tough game. You know, they're fighting for promotion. They are. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Like I said, we've already gotten into the ratings. On that one, we've already got into the table. Yeah, and we'll be doing our preview show for Millwall this week sometime. So yeah. Paul says, do you fit Maddison or Chair on the bench next week? I don't know if Maddison is back yet. I don't know if what the situation of Maddison. I think personally we might not see Maddison at all this season. I also think Chair we will see eventually. We have seen him coming back from injury, but I don't know if we've seen him on the field in training. I think he's just working to get back to fitness. It would be good to see certain players back, but we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, it's crazy how Burrell was back before Chair. It is crazy, but it's also a good positive thing where we've actually seen Chair in an interview. So yeah. Ryan says Millwall will be difficult, especially as we aren't good away. I'd honestly start Burrell. Well, it's another 12:30 kickoff on Sky, and we've got a Sky Sports curse, so I wouldn't be surprised if we lose, but we have to go there and give them a good game and hopefully get at least a point at their ground. You know, Edward Duckworth no, that was yesterday. Edward Duckworth, who is have they announced the referee? No, they haven't. But yeah, I would say right now we'll get into obviously the match preview for that this week, but I'm not sure what to expect for that game. All I know right now, we have 4 games left. We are in great form. 3 wins out of 5, 2 draws. We got our first clean sheet in a while yesterday. But yeah, that's pretty much it, really, to say. We're pretty much want top 10. I want to see us top 10. You know, us and Bristol have literally had the same type of season, I would say. And as you can see, with wins, draws, they have literally the same wins, draws, and losses as us all season. You know, and now, right now, it's majority of who's gonna finish second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. You know, it's very tight and close up the top there. Mill will be difficult, especially if we weren't away. I'd honestly start Burrell. I wouldn't mind if we lost and played well, but in a derby like this, we can't play bad and lose. QPR Ryan says, yeah, I agree. We'll either lose 4-0 or win 1-0 against Millwall H football. I'll be honest, I don't think we'll lose big. We won't lose big against Millwall. I think, obviously, we missed Jimmy Dunn quite a bit yesterday, I would say. But yeah, we got a lot to get into till the end of the season. Pretty much go from there. I believe right now it's the big game, Man City v Chelsea. It is. We'll be watching that, not obviously on stream, but we might be on stream later on Twitch as well. Yet again, going from there. But leave your comments below. What you think of the game yesterday. After the stream, and what you think about what I've said, pretty much. You know. So yeah. Apart from that, we're going to leave it there for today. You know, it's very... Ryan says, any rumours on news? Mate, there's nothing really to say on rumours and news. Like you said, with QPR, it's dead quiet at the moment. The only thing that I've heard is that... just certain players will probably end up getting a new contract. So yeah. At least we saw Jake Oxford and Edwards once this season. H Football says, yeah, I know. You know, Ronnie Edwards, I'm glad we signed him. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do next season, and see what he does from there. But yeah, no rumours or news, like I said. Sorry, Ryan, nothing there at the moment. The best person, I would say, for news-wise is probably QPR Central. They get it on top all the time. So yeah, give them a follow on Instagram. Give them a shout, whatever you want to do. But if you want to know any news, I would say go to them. They are the best at getting the news at the moment. So yeah, it's been pretty dead quiet for who I know. So yeah, Apart from that, we're gonna leave it there for today. It's a very short stream. I do apologize. But apart from that, we'll catch you sometime this week with our match preview for Millwall. Stay positive, peace, love, positivity, and have a great weekend. I know people probably back to work or whatever if you've been off for 2 weeks as well, like schools. But yeah, end of Easter now. Back to reality. Apart from that, have a lovely day. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to, and we'll catch you next time. Peace out, people.